Well, friends, uh, welcome to today's session. We are going to learn three important concepts today. One is audit strategy, second one is audit planning, and third one is audit program. Right. So you might be having some basic idea about audit program because earlier once I had shown you how a program looks like. And audit strategy and audit planning, these two things might be new to you. And our objective is not only to learn that subject, but also uh, you should develop a kind of you should develop three documents. I'll be giving you some practical situation, and you should be able to develop one audit plan, one audit program, and one audit strategy for that. Okay, so after this session, you should be able to develop all these things. I'm going to share the screen with you. First, let us understand what are these three things. Yeah. So are you able to see the chart? Three things are appearing before you.
Yes, sir.
All these three things will be referring to as our planning documents. When you do audit, we need to develop or need to prepare all these documents. So first of all, we'll be calling one document, which is will be this document will be called as audit strategy. I'll be showing you how it looks like, how it is to prepare. What is audit strategy? As you can see, it sets the scope, timing, and direction of audit, and it guides the development of more detailed audit plan. So you can say this is the basic document on the basis of which audit plan can be developed. Okay, now you can see here also overall audit strategy will help in developing audit plan, and audit plan will help in the development of audit program. There are three different things. Okay, and what is contained in the audit strategy or overall audit strategy? Scope of audit, timing, and direction of audit. And this audit strategy document can be used as a guideline for development of a detailed audit program. Okay. Now we'll understand what is an audit plan. Okay, right. Audit plan means auditors should plan, as you know, every auditor needs to plan his work. This plan will enable him to conduct an effective audit in an efficient and timely manner. Audit needs to be completed in time. Audit needs to be effective also. Right. So how these plans can be developed? The plan needs to be developed within the framework of overall audit strategy, and it should be based on the knowledge of client's business. Okay, so one should first acquire knowledge about the client's business, then uh, he should be able to prepare audit plan. Right, but before that, overall audit strategy must have been developed. Now, what is audit program? It consists of a series of verification procedures to be applied to the financial statement and the accounts of a given company. Right, when you are doing audit, you have to apply a series of verification procedures. Various audit procedures are there, almost for each items of the financial statement. You need to apply certain audit procedures, and these procedures are listed in an audit program. Okay, and why these procedures are followed? These procedures are followed so that auditor can obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidences. And these evidences are necessary because with the help of these evidences or on the basis of these evidences, auditor will be able to form an opinion. Okay, he will be able to form an informed opinion. Suppose he is verifying the debtor positions. He'll be collecting certain evidences. He may ask for debtor's ledger. He may scrutiny how he may, let us say, verify the sales amounts. On that basis, you can scrutinize the entire debtor ledger, and he can conclude or he can collect some evidences that the debtor amount is correct. Is it not? So by applying audit procedures, auditor will be able to collect evidences that the financial statement figures are showing true and fair. Okay, so auditor will be able to express an informed opinion on the basis of such evidences. So the purpose of applying audit procedure is to collect audit evidences. Okay, these are the three things we'll be learning in detail, right? And we have to remember in the context of all these three documents that it is the auditor's responsibility to plan the audit, right? And it is also auditor's responsibility to determine what is the materiality level, which items are material, and accordingly he should develop an audit plan. He should have an audit strategy and he should have a detailed audit program. And it is also necessary to document these things needs to be documented so that auditor can prove, auditor can show an evidence that actually audit has been conducted by following an audit strategy, audit plan, and audit program. Okay. Did you understand this slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, first let us understand what is an overall audit strategy. One by one, what I told you, let us discuss all these things in detail. Overall audit strategy sets the scope, timing, and direction of audit and guides the development of more detailed audit plan. Audit plan is more detailed and overall audit strategy sets the scope, timing, and direction. Okay, it also gives guidance. And auditors are established an overall audit strategy that sets scope, timing, and direction of audit, and that guides the development of audit plan. So auditor's responsibility is to develop an overall audit strategy. Scope of audit should be mentioned, timing, when it is to be started, when it is to be completed, and direction is to be there. And it should help for development of overall development of a good audit plan. Now, question comes, how this overall audit strategy can be developed? Okay, the process of establishing overall audit strategy assists the auditor to determine, subject to the completion of auditor's risk assessment procedure, such matters as, there are few points, but let us first understand one by one what are these points. Do you know what is risk assessment procedure? Earlier I might have told you about something about audit procedures. Have you heard of this? Have you heard of it? Have you remembered what are audit procedures? Yes or no? Have you heard of audit procedures? Risk assessment procedures, all these things, are you aware of or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Tell me, can you give me some examples of audit procedures? Have you remembered? Well, when we are discussing audit procedures, I might have told you earlier, there is something called as, first of all, risk assessment procedure. In the previous classes we have discussed. There what happens, auditor assesses the risk. What is the risk? What is the possibility that the financial statement may materially misstated because of fraud or because of error? What may there is? So auditor assesses the risk. Auditor evaluates the internal control system. On that basis, he assesses the risk. And after completion of this risk assessment procedure, auditor carry out other audit procedures. And other audit procedures includes compliance procedure and substantive procedure. Have you remembered this thing? Compliance procedure and substantive procedure. Okay, in compliance procedure, what do we see? That the various internal controls on which auditor is planning to place his reliance, whether it is effective or not. Okay, under vouching procedure, what auditor does? Auditor this thing, substantive procedure, auditor goes for vouching, verification, etc., and actually tests whether the financial statement is showing true and fair view or not. Okay, did you understand? Once again, in appropriate time, we'll be learning what are these procedures when we're learning audit procedures again. So now you see how audit procedures, how this audit strategy will be developed. How, let us say, we'll establish an audit strategy. Auditor needs to first of all complete his risk assessment procedures, and then what is done. Then auditor decides, or auditor, let us say, concludes, takes a decision that the resources to deploy for specific audit areas Suppose one financial statement needs to be audited. Suppose one balance sheet is one of the financial statement. It contains various items. Let us say asset is one area, equity part is one more area, liabilities are one area. Under asset also, current asset is one area, non-current asset is one area. So there are different areas of financial statement. Isn't it? Similarly, if you look at the statement of profit and loss, revenue is one area, expenditures are one more area, depreciation is one area, like this. So, and all these areas needs to be audited. So, what are the resources required to deploy? What are the resources to deploy specific audit areas, such as use of appropriately experienced team members. Okay, suppose let us say non-current asset. So many assets are there, and these figures needs to be audited. So how many manpowers are required, and on the basis of experience that has to be decided. So that decision is a part of you can say establishing an overall audit strategy. So we need experienced people. There might be some specific items in the financial statement, right? Let us say interest calculation. Interest might be an expenditure, might be an income also. So if there is some experienced team member, so we have to decide how many team members are required to verify those transactions. Are you getting? Similarly, amount of resources to allocate to specific audit areas, such as number of members, how many members, let us say, how many members are required, we need to decide, and we need to specifically depute those many members so that audit can be conducted smoothly. Right. So number of team members assigned to observe the inventory count. Let us say management is going to do the physical verification of inventory. So auditor need to decide, auditor need to include it in its audit strategy that these many resources are required to verify the inventory verification procedures. Similarly, when these resources are to be deployed, such as whether an interim audit stage or key cutoff dates, when one should depute manpower. Some organizations, they do audit in phases, first phase, second phase. Some organization in between they do an interim audit, then final audit. Then at what point of time, in which period, so these resources needs to be deployed. That also forms a part of overall audit strategy. And how these resources are managed, that also forms a part of overall audit strategy. That means they needs to be directed, that needs to be supervised. Is it not? The direction, supervision, etc. forms a part of audit strategy. So audit strategy should be developed in this line. Okay, on the basis of risk assessment procedure, one has to decide what are the resources that has to be required. Okay, so first you see risk assessment procedures needs to be applied. On that basis, auditor can decide what are the relatively more risk areas, which are the less risk areas. The resources to deploy for specific audit areas, that needs to be decided. Amount of resources to allocate, and when these resources has to be deployed, and how these resources has to be managed. All these things are there in the audit strategy. Did you understand the components of overall audit strategy?
Yes.
Yeah. So I will show you an audit strategy. Then I will be we'll be discussing some more points. Just a minute. Are you seeing a Word file? One Word file is visible to you. Are you seeing an Word file?
No, sir.
No, you are seeing a folder, I think. Right.
Yes, sir.
Right. you see, this is audit strategy of a particular company's audit. So name of the client, types of engagement, what is the reporting objective, what are the significant factors. Okay, then detailed audit strategy, you see some steps are there. The strategy needs to be followed. See, manpower strategy, it is about deployment of manpower. How they will be coordinated, how different people will be reporting. This is the coordination chart. In fact, this forms a part of what is strategy. Then reporting strategy, how finally report will be generated. You see, each team shall submit the provisional observation to the unit and shall draw preliminary conclusions. So different reports will come from the various audit teams, and finally they will be consolidated and final report will be issued by audit in charge or by the engagement partner. So this is how a chartered strategy looks like. Strategy for reviewing accounts and closing procedures. You see, these are the guidelines. In fact, strategy for judgment of materiality, strategy for selection of sample size, strategy for consideration of subsequent period events. Like this, you see, this is one sample. Okay, suppose one area will be given to you. Okay, this is a particular area of the financial statement. Develop an audit strategy for this. Can you develop? Can you develop audit strategy? Now, broadly, you have seen now how strategy looks like, and there is no format as such. You can develop in your own style. Can you develop?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I repeat, what should be the content in an audit strategy? As you know, when we talk about audit strategy, we are talking about a document, and this document should explain the scope. What is the scope of audit? Suppose we are saying statutory audit, that means scope is defined by the statute, or you can express it in detail. And timing, when this audit has to be started, when it is to be completed. Direction of audit, some team members needs to be given directive, and it should guide for development of detailed audit program. This should be the broad content of an audit strategy document, overall audit strategy document. Okay, again I repeat, how to develop it. First, risk assessment procedures needs to be completed. Then auditor needs to know what are the resources to be developed, deployed. Then the amount of resources to allocate, that also needs to be decided. When these resources have to be deployed, and how much resources, and how such resources are to be managed, that also should be included in an audit strategy. Okay. Now, few more points relating to audit strategy we need to know. Auditor need to identify the characteristics of engagement that define its scope. Suppose the strategy which I show you, the characteristics of an engagement is that statutory audit. So that itself identifies the scope, because law defines what is the scope of auditor there. Is it that? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Then ascertain the reporting objective. What is the objective of this audit? What you are going to do? Objective is to give an opinion about the true and fairness of the financial statement. That objective also should be mentioned. Then consider the factors that in auditor's professional judgment are significant in directing engagement teams input. Which are the important factors that needs to be considered? That should be there. Right. So in that audit, you must have seen the review of past audit reports, maybe let us say review of CAG observation. So that auditor may, on the basis of his professional judgment, he may feel that these are the factors which are important. Right. Similarly, consider the results of preliminary engagement activities, and where applicable, whether knowledge gained on other engagement performed by the engagement partner for the entity is relevant. Sometimes what happens, engagement partner might have conducted similar kind of audit elsewhere on the basis of his knowledge, or by doing some preliminary engagement activities. Preliminary engagement activities also means it is a kind of, let us say, knowledge gathering activity. Suppose before starting the audit, one may visit that organization's website and try to find out how their financial statements looks like, what are the activities of that organization. So auditor can do all these things. They are called as preliminary engagement activities. So the results of these preliminary engagement activities can be considered. Okay. Then ascertain the nature, timing, and extent of resources necessary. In that audit strategy, you had seen how many people were deployed. Everything was there in the chart. How reporting can be managed. So the nature, timing, and extent of resources also, which are necessary for the engagement, that also needs to be decided. Okay, all of them forms a part of overall strategy, right? Okay. Again, I tell you this thing. First, what should be done? Identify the characteristics of engagement. Then ascertain the reporting objective. Consider the significant factors. Then results of preliminary engagement activities should be considered. The nature, timing, and extent of resources should also be considered. Okay, did you understand? Well, you have already seen an overall audit strategy. I think you'll be able to develop an audit strategy when it is required. Now, next concept is that we'll be learning about audit planning. Okay. Right? Yeah. Now coming to audit planning. Now, as you know, as I was explaining, the auditor should plan his work to enable him to conduct an effective audit in an efficient and timely manner. That is the reason why plan is necessary. Auditor needs to plan his work. Right? And plan should be based on knowledge of client's business. So first, what is necessary? One should acquire the knowledge of client's business. Okay. So how to acquire this knowledge about client's business? Can you tell me? And not only auditor has to just acquire, he has to document that this is how knowledge can be acquired.
The auditor can go through their official website.
Okay, right. There he can collect some information, at least past financial data, past financial statements will be available. Maybe director's report might be available. Some kind of statistical analysis might be possible. Let us say sales trend, profit trend. Some organizations publish all these things in the director's report. Otherwise, also, so auditor can have a broad idea. Is it not? Sometimes auditor also visits to the client's office just to understand the system. Okay, so knowledge of client's business is important. Okay, so I think once I had already shown you that what kind of documentation auditors do to record or to gain knowledge about the client's business. Whether you have seen it earlier or should I show it again? Well, if required, I will be showing you subsequently. Now let us understand this thing. Now, what are the things that need to be covered in an audit plan? Again, there is no standard format of development of audit plan. You can develop in your own style, but do you want that plan should cover all these things? What is that? Acquiring knowledge of client's accounting system, policies, internal control procedures. So first one should acquire knowledge of client's accounting system. Then establish a degree of reliance to be placed on the internal control system. One has to see, or auditor has to see whether internal control systems on which auditor is going to rely, whether they're in fact reliable or not. Then determining the programming, determining and programming the nature, timing, and extent of audit procedures to be followed. What kind of audit procedures needs to be applied? What is the timing for that? And the extent of this audit procedure. Extent means whether 100% it will be applied or it will apply on 40% of transaction. Then coordinating the work to be performed. That also forms a part of audit plan. Okay. And plan should be developed and revised. Continuously it should be revised. So plan should include, again, I repeat here, acquiring knowledge, establishing a degree of reliance, nature, timing, and extent of the audit procedures. Then coordinating the work and development and review of the plan. Okay. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let me show you some audit plan now. Then again we'll come back. Now, you got some broad idea, I think, how plans look like and how knowledge of client's business can be gained. I'm going to share with you some files so that you can understand it in a better way. Yeah, I'm showing you one file now. You see, this is about a particular company. Before starting of the audit, how one can record the transactions about understanding client's business. Let us say this is about a company Nalco. Just for, I'm showing you an example. Let us say they have several units where accounting happens. Various units are there. You can understand where their offices are located, where their mines are located, where the processing units, refinery units, etc. are located, where the smelter plant is located, about all these things. Are you seeing these files? Where their captive power plants are located, one can understand broadly about their business. These are their marketing offices at different places, Chennai, Mumbai, all the metros. And you see, these are some analyses which are published, okay, publicly available from their website. One can understand various ratios, some other analyses, sales trend one can understand. You can say this is some pre-audit activities. Profit trend one can understand. Performance data is also available in that company's website. One can understand. Financial performances of past several years one can see. Their accounting system one also can understand. You see, this is a system understanding about accounts, how accounts are maintained, what kind of account code they are using, one can understand. Okay, and how many units that company is having. This is how accounting happens, how trial balance is prepared, a flowchart about all these things. You see, all these things are prepared by auditor, right? So that auditor can develop an overall audit plan, overall audit strategy and plan. He can also decide how many manpower is required. Okay, this is about understanding their accounting system. can take any example how the computer screen looks like for different accounting entries, one can understand. And on that basis, one can evaluate the internal control system. Are you seeing it? You see, this might be a quite long file. This is how their account, books of account looks like. So this is how knowledge about client's business is gained. And on that basis, I told you one more thing, risk assessment. I will again show you how risk is assessed. Give me a moment again. You can see, after understanding the business, one can find out, one can make a risk analysis of the, by applying the risk assessment procedure. Let us say transaction recording, it is safe. That means risk is not there. Inter-unit reconciliation, low risk. These are some low risk areas are identified. Some areas are high risk areas. So this is how auditor makes a risk analysis. Did you understand? Got some idea?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now what auditor has done? Auditor has understood the business. Then he has applied the risk assessment procedure. On that basis, he have identified the risk. Now you will see, suppose in this area, insurance risk is high. Then auditor needs to deploy more resources in that area. Okay. And where less risk is there, in this less risk, auditor may deploy less resources in those less risk areas. Okay, that is the purpose. Did you understand? Now I'll show you one more file. Yeah, you can see this power, this file. You see what has happened on the basis of risk analysis, then how plans are modified. Okay, let us say in a particular area, lower risk area was earlier, then some auditor made some observation and finally found that it is a risky area. So revised audit procedure got revised. You see here it was sample testing, now the 100% verification is to be done. Did you understand? This is how, on the basis of knowledge of the business, on the basis of analysis of risk, plans may be revised. Right? Let us say this is original plan, then here is some observation. On the basis of this observation, let us say in some cases, plans are revised. Did you understand? Are you understanding?
Yes, sir.
Finally, plans are made in such a way that overall audit risk, inherent risk, and detection risk, etc. are within the tolerable limit. Then auditor can follow the audit program and conduct the audit. Did you understand? Yeah. Now I will again go for screen sharing, or this PPT is visible to you, I think. Now you've got some idea about this audit plan. Plan, in fact, I had not shown you. I am going to show you some plan. Just give me a moment. I'll show you some audit plan. Then again, I will come back to PPT series. Just a minute. Are you seeing a file now? Word file?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you see, this is just an example of an audit plan. Some part I am showing you. You can see time plan is here. That audit has to be conducted in various pages, first page, second page, then schedule checking, consolidation, finalization, all these things. Okay, which period is to be covered from this period to this period? During this coverage period has decided when audit is to be covered. You see, this is a plan about timing. And let us say how many teams are there. This is usually about the manpower planning, how manpower is to be planned. This is how broadly you can understand plan needs to be developed. Okay, got some idea about audit plan? Manpower planning, this is audit plan or timing planning. Both the things are there. Okay. Now we'll understand some more things about audit planning. Now, as you know, plan should be based on auditor's knowledge about the knowledge on client's business, and plan should be made in such a way that audit is conducted in an effective and efficient manner. Timely also audit needs to be completed. Okay, I told you now, one should acquire client's knowledge, then establish degree of reliance. All these things you have seen. Nature, timing, and extent of audit procedure also needs to be decided. Coordination, how work is to be coordinated, and development and review on time. That means periodically time plan also keeps on changing. Plans needs revision. All these things you have already seen in an audit planning. Okay. Now we'll understand few concepts which are there in SA 300. SA 300 talks about planning of audit of financial statements. There are certain principles relating to the planning. So very important things, few things only we are going to learn. According to this particular essay, the planning is not a discrete phase of an audit. That means it's not that at a particular time planning has to be done. It is in fact a continual and iterative process. That means repeatedly we need to keep on planning, and continuously also planning should go on. So as your knowledge improves, suppose you made some other observation, you can revise your plan. Right. So this planning activity, many times it begins shortly, or you can say shortly after the completion of the previous year's audit. So 1 year's audit completed, immediately planning activity started for the next year's audit. Auditors are establish an overall audit strategy that sets the scope, timing, and direction of audit, and that guides the development of audit plan. So first, audit strategy needs to be developed, overall audit strategy needs to be established, then audit plan needs to be developed. Okay. Now, SA 315 talks about knowledge of client's business. Some of the points we will be learning here right now. Auditors shall obtain understanding of the following. What is that? Relevant industry, regulatory, and other external factors, including applicable financial reporting framework. Auditors should have knowledge about all these things. What is the industry situation? What are the regulatory? What are the regulations applicable to that organization? External factors, as well as what is the appropriate financial reporting framework one should know. And the nature of entity, including its operation, ownership, governance, who are the people, who are the owners, how it operates, types of investment that entity is making, the way entity is structured, and how they are financed, their capital structure, their operational thing also one should know. Then entity selection and application of accounting policies, that also one should know. By seeing the financial statement, one can understand what are the significant accounting policies that an organization follows, and the reasons for changes there too. If the entity is making some changes in the accounting policy, the reasons also should be there, should be also understood. Then entity's objective and strategies, and those related to business risk. All these things one needs to understand. What is the objectives of entity? What is the strategies? And if they are related to business risk, auditor also needs to understand all these issues. Then measurement and review of entity's financial performance, that also auditor needs to do. Auditor's financial performance he should review. Then only he can get some knowledge about client's business. All these things I'm talking about, this is in connection with conducting an audit. So this financial performance is reviewing in order to get some knowledge about the client's business, or the objective strategies and the business risk auditor is trying to understand, so that he can have some knowledge about the client's business. Accordingly, he can develop an audit plan, audit strategy, and audit program. Okay. Now, auditors should develop an audit plan that should include the description of nature, timing, and extent of planned risk assessment procedures. What risk assessment procedure he has followed? What is the nature, timing, and extent? And the nature, timing, and extent of planned further audit procedures at the assertions level are determined as determined under SA 330 in response to assessed risk. So I had told you earlier what are the various assertions. So we'll be understanding this concept once again. Okay, assertions relating to balances, assertions relating to let us say transactions, assertions relating to our presentations and disclosures. Okay, at financial statement level, there are some assertions. So that auditor needs to test, and other planned audit procedures that are required to be carried out so that engagement complies with standards and auditing. So the plan should include what are the audit procedures that auditor is going to follow. That is one more component of planning activity. Okay, and how to develop the overall audit plan. These are certain considerations. On this basis, plans needs to develop terms of engagement, statutory responsibility. If it is a statutory audit, the law itself provides what is the statutory responsibilities. The nature and timing of reports and other communications. What kind of reports needs to be issued? Legal and statutory requirements, accounting policies, and if there is any changes in the accounting policies. Okay, the new accounting auditing pronouncement, identification of significant audit areas, setting of materiality label, conditions requiring special attention, degree of reliance, possible rotation of audit areas, nature and extent of audit evidence, work of internal auditors, involvement of other auditors, involving experts, work allocation among joint auditors, establishing and coordinating staffing requirements. So all these things are considered at the time of developing an audit plan. Okay, do you have any query about any of these items? How to develop an audit plan? Do you have any query?
No, sir.
No. Okay, planning is definitely beneficial. Just will complete this planning part, then we'll go to our audit program part. Okay, there are a lot of benefits of planning. First of all, it helps the auditor to devote appropriate attention to important areas. Auditor at the time of when auditor understands the business, or when auditor documents the understanding of the business, and when auditor develops a plan, at that time also auditor knows that what are the important areas. So accordingly, auditor devotes more resources in those areas. So consequently, appropriate attention can be given to important areas. It helps the auditor to identify and resolve potential problems on timely basis. Very promptly, auditor can identify and resolve the issues. Helps the auditor properly organize and manage the audit engagement. Since planning on the basis of planning document, auditor conducts the audit. It becomes easier for him to organize and manage the audit activity. It assists the engagement team members. Engagement team members can smoothly conduct the audit because all the, let us say, procedures needs to be followed are defined. Timings are also defined. It facilitates direction and supervision of engagement team. It becomes easy for engagement team to supervise. It also helps in coordination. Various members work, various team members work gets coordinated with the help of planning document. And you know, the overall audit strategy and audit planning, they're very closely related. And audit plan has to be developed keeping in mind the overall audit strategy, or taking into account the objective which is specified in the overall audit strategy. And you can say the establishment of overall audit strategy and the detailed audit plan are not necessarily discrete or sequential process that can be simultaneously developed, and they're very closely interrelated. Right? Strategy may be a little broader thing, and planning may be a little detailed. And planning is a continuous process. I had also shown you earlier that how planning keeps on changing, or on the basis of certain audit procedure, maybe risk assessment procedure, we need to change our audit planning. Okay, it is a continual and iterative process. And planning includes consideration of timing of certain activities and audit procedures. Okay, planning includes need to consider prior to auditor's identification of assessment of risk of material misstatement, some other matters. For example, at planning stage also, what are the analytical procedures or risk assessment procedures needs to be applied. They are also decided. Obtaining a general understanding of legal and regulatory framework also forms a part of planning activity. Determination of materiality level is a part of planning activity. Involvement of expert. There are certain areas where experts needs to be involved. That is also planning activity. And performance of other risk assessment procedures are also a part of planning activity. Okay, so all these activities are necessary at the time of planning. Okay, did you understand now what is audit plan and what is audit program? Sorry, what is audit plan and what is overall audit strategy? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.